The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
All right, well, here we go. This is exciting. We're finally going to make some progress on this show. And Case, the producer, watched Braveheart yesterday. For the first time ever, it came up in conversation. And these movies come up like Shawshank Redemption, Armageddon. He's never seen them. Case is 25 years old, by the way. But age has nothing to do with it because these movies are very accessible today. You can just find the time. Now, he skipped the gym yesterday to watch Braveheart. I told him it was a long movie.
It is.
Was it? Kara, you've seen Braveheart.
Yes. It's been a while.
How many times?
Oh, God. Well, my exes used to love to watch. That's why I said it's a dude movie.
Yeah.
So, thank God at least you can see Mel's legs.
Thank God. Yeah, that was my takeaway, was Mel's legs.
I can already tell he's got a bad attitude about what's
Yeah.
He's not, because I want to pull the segment almost right now. Because I love Braveheart, and I get it. It's one of the most historically inaccurate movies about a real event. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still
Epic
awesome.
fight scene. I mean, I even appreciate the fight scenes. Yeah.
Thank you. Kara likes men with their shirts off.
I do.
Fighting.
Yes.
And she's single. So, guys, shoot your shot.
All you need is cable.
Okay, so here we go with Case's review of Braveheart, and I'm already getting upset about it, but I'll listen. I'll be objective. You go ahead, Case.
Well, it'll be interactive. The year was 1995 when Braveheart came out. Brian, did you watch this movie in movie theaters?
I did not see it in a theater.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, I did not.
Okay, so the year is 1995. Braveheart comes out. This tells the story of the Scottish warrior William Wallace, who leads his countrymen into rebellion to free his homeland from the tyranny of King Edward I of England. And I suffered through this movie for 2 hours and 58 minutes.
Before you continue, it'd be the first. King Edward I.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Isn't it the first? Actually, they didn't even say the first. They just would have said King Edward. Because why would you say number one if there's no others?
I thought it was like Van Halen 1. It's not Van Halen first.
Yeah, there was Van Halen 1. There was Van Halen 2. Eventually, there was Van Halen 3 after a whole bunch of other records. But no, it's not 1. So you're already pissing me off. But before you give this terrible review of Braveheart. But go ahead. I want to know what you thought of it because I'm open-minded. I want to hear what you think because I respect you.
The positives of this movie.
Oh, geez.
I found a lot of the set pieces to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I found the cinematography to largely not be dated. There are a few things here and there, especially towards the end of the movie, the final scene, where maybe things don't go well for William Wallace, where the camera work feels very 1995.
Okay.
Which is not a good thing. I'm not saying art needs to be timeless, but it certainly does not hold up in the best way.
Right.
And that is probably where the good things end. It's very pretty to look at. I like a lot of the camera work, but this movie takes so long to get to the damn point, first of all. I don't see Mel Gibson for the first half hour of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like that.
He's a little kid. It's an era of him growing up.
I understand that. That could have been 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes a half hour to get there. I don't like it. And then we finally see Mel Gibson, and it's just like, all right, now he's got this love of his life, and they're sneaking around on horse and buggy, which is just...
There's no horse and buggy in this movie at all.
Well, there's horses.
There's horses, but there's no buggy.
That's a great question. When did the buggy come to be?
Well, let's focus on this movie.
I don't want to know about the buggy.
I don't want to get sidetracked with this like we usually do, but there's no horse and buggy in the year 1200.
Which I don't get because they sneak away on horse, right? There's the scene where he comes and picks up the woman, and I don't know if it's her parents or her friends are like, no, don't take her. And then she hops on the horse anyways. It's raining out. Remember this scene?
Yeah, that's her parents. That's not her friend's house. They live in fields in the hills.
Well, that's what I don't get. What is sneaking away in the 13th century? That's just going a mile to the east? Sneaking. There's nothing there. What are they sneaking away from?
Well, because no one had a car to go chase her down.
But that's the thing. There's nothing stopping you from going to get her. Just get on your horse and go take her away.
Okay, I don't know if this is going to continue through the whole review of Braveheart. It just seems you're preoccupied with time.
Yes. Yes.
There's long movies that are amazing, and I think
look, one of my favorite movies is Casino. I've seen Casino. That's 3 hours long.
Okay, so you wanted things to get to the point faster. Well, he's a little kid, and it showed a lot setting this stage for the story that needed to be done in that first half hour.
You know what they should have done in Braveheart?
What should they have done?
They should have done the Star Wars thing where they have the crawl credits at the beginning.
Yeah.
And they say, here's Mel Gibson as a little boy. This is what happened. He likes this woman. And then we cut to, essentially the first scene of the movie should be prima nocta.
Well, you can't do that.
Why? That would have summed up the story. It would have saved me 45 minutes.
I was just going to say, that would make it a palatable time.
Thank you, Kara.
Yeah.
Once again, Kara, common sense.
Honestly, you've told me more about the plot than I even knew. I just remember the fighting.
I can't remember. I remember so much of the plot. I'm kind of proud of myself.
I remember the beginning, the middle, the end. And by the early reviews of your review, Josh and Jay say, Chase sucks. Get him off the show.
I think that's an unrelated thing to the Braveheart review. I think that's general feedback.
His name is Case, by the way, not Chase. Okay, let's get past that part then. Keep going.
Okay, so let's talk about the fighting. Kara, want to talk about the fighting?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't like the amount of horses that died in this movie.
I don't either.
Very
No, that's
uncomfortable.
true. Yeah.
It came out later, according to the IMDb trivia page, which is my favorite thing in all of media, that Mel Gibson was investigated by an animal welfare organization which was convinced that the fake horses used were real. Only when one of Gibson's assistants provided some videotape footage of the location shooting were they convinced otherwise. Credit to them, those horses
It
looked
is
real.
true. I was more upset about the horses dying, too.
Yeah.
Wait, so the horses in those scenes where they
Yeah.
were like stabbed with a spear or whatever, those were not real horses?
What did you think they just slaughtered a bunch of horses?
I thought they were acting.
I thought they were. I thought they were stunt horses. I really did. Wow, that kind of thing about 95. What they had the capability to do.
I know.
It's pretty impressive.
So here's the crux of my issue with Braveheart, right? This is the meaty stuff.
Okay.
I'm watching this movie. I'm on my couch doing stuff for the show because it's 3 hours long. I can't just stop my day. I've got to do stuff while I'm watching it.
Yes.
I paused the movie at an hour and 12 minutes in. And Mel Gibson is about to give his freedom speech.
Yes.
And I'm going, oh, here we go. This movie flew by. This is good stuff.
I don't want to die young for my freedom. I'd rather just live and be able. Maybe I'd be repressed a little bit, but at least I'd live.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
me.
one outlook to have on it.
That would be me.
That's an odd takeaway from Braveheart.
What's your problem with that scene? It's the best scene, one of the best scenes in movie history. Iconic.
It's the one thing I knew about Braveheart. I knew about this scene. I knew about the face paint, which I still don't totally understand why they looked like the Blue Man Group, but nevertheless. But they're doing this speech, and I want to get into it. I want to get sucked in because I'm an hour and 12 in. At this point in the movie, I think, oh my God, we're approaching the end. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love Braveheart. The movie's almost over. But I can't focus on the speech because the horse is clanking around the entire damn time.
What do you mean he's on a horse
I'm
talking to
distracted.
everybody?
They couldn't reshoot
It was horse acting. We already discussed this.
He's on a bucking bronco all of a sudden. It's just so much clanking and neighing and spitting and slobbering. I can't take it.
You know what? I'm actually gonna give you a pass on this one.
Huge, thank you.
Because I didn't notice it until I was playing, and I go, "Damn, that horse was really noisy."
Horse was so
Yeah.
loud.
What will you do without freedom?
You couldn't do a reshoot?
Wow. But I mean, that was part of the, the fervor of him in front of all those people. The horse and
When the
how
horse got fired up?
the horse was fired up. The horse was listening to him and going like, "Yeah, hell yeah, let's go, let's
yeah,
go."
brother.
I mean, I know I'm gonna die in this thing probably, but whatever.
So that is the big fight scene in the movie. That is when a bunch of horses die. That's when a bunch of men die. That is when they get the upper hand on the English for a little bit. They do that fight scene. I think again, I'm prepared for the movie to be over And by the time the fight scene is done, we're only 90 minutes in. We have
Yeah.
90 minutes to go. And the back half of the movie completely lost me.
Okay.
And here's why. I know you're going to say, well, they're telling a story.
Yes.
It's based on a true story. They have to tell the story. But that's where you're wrong, Brian.
Why am I wrong?
Because this movie, according to later reports, was 90% fabricated. They could have told me the story of Braveheart by having him go out on top in this battle. I didn't need to see England get the other hand. I didn't need to see the execution in the very last scene. I didn't need to see any of it. If the movie ended at this battle scene, 3.75 stars out of 5. I'd enjoy it. But it just kept going. And I didn't find the second half to be any more enjoyable than the first half.
I feel like my first memory watching it might be like that too, honestly.
Thank you, Kara.
Yeah, but
Thank
I
you.
was
Kara,
forced to
stand
watch
your
it. so many
ground, Kara. Do not let him convince you. This is a great,
I'm pretty
epic
convincing.
movie.
No, I
It's-
grew to love it though. You only watched it once. I've seen it at least 30, 40 times because every time I'm with a guy.
You've seen Braveheart 30 to 40 times?
But not the whole thing. Anytime a guy is on a couch flipping through, if it lands on Braveheart, it's staying there. Like any guy I've ever seen will not flip away from it.
Here's the thing. I want to go
Yeah.
back, and it is really historically inaccurate of a lot of the points. However, he did get executed and cut up in pieces at the end. That's true. You needed that part of it because it showed what he did the whole time in the movie. It was a conclusion.
You know what they should have done with the execution?
What?
Braveheart 2 Electric Boogaloo. Should have been a two-parter.
Well,
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
okay, so if you just joined us, hang on, Kaleo. Hang on a second.
He's so excited he wants to go.
I know. So here's the thing. Case, the producer, had never seen Braveheart. This came up yesterday during the show. And I'm getting sick and tired of the movies that he hasn't seen in the whole span of 4.5 years of Case being on this show. And it just gets annoying when I want to just make a movie reference and he's not there. His favorite movie of all time is Boys in the Hood. He's seen that in Norbit, and that's it.
And Monsters, Inc., because I love Monsters,
Oh, that's
Inc.
a good one.
Thank you,
yeah,
Kara.
that's a great movie.
But it's
You're
hard-
winning over Kara, and I don't like it. I don't like Kara's sitting in here for Kenzie this week, and I just don't like it.
It's hard for us because we spend more time around each other, Brian, than we do our own families. And with music and TV and pop culture, we get each other. But then you'll make a movie reference, and I never have any idea what you're talking about.
And it sucks because I am a person that's seen everything, at least of movies, probably 10 years ago and back.
Yeah, you haven't really seen anything since 2007. That's
Same.
your problem.
Yeah.
Well, I had a baby last year, and it's hard
That
to.
is not, you didn't see movies in 2015.
Well, there wasn't that many good movies. I watch all the TV shows
Yeah.
now.
That's right, that's
They're
right.
all much better. The last movie that was really funny was Superbad. But let's not get into that right now because his review has really struck a chord with our listeners. We'll get to some phones, and we'll play a scene from The Office that I think you know I'm about to play here at the end. But first, some of the text from Case's review, who was not impressed, by the way. If you missed it, it's all on the podcast, the Brian and Kenzie podcast with Braveheart. Let's see here. Dave from Hoffman Estates. Case is dead on with his review.
Thank you.
Please continue this segment. I want more of Case's takes.
That's huge. Wow, what a compliment.
You got a lot of hate early, but you won people over.
I typically do. I don't make good first impressions.
Well,
It takes me a while to warm up to people.
well, Kara was talking about Braveheart in the middle of the review and how she's seen the movie. Well, this is from Joe and Alsep. He said, my favorite part is the chick on the show said she was with 30 or 40 guys.
See that?
And those are just the Braveheart guys.
Say that.
She stuck that in during the review. Kara, we can go back to the tape. You said that.
Well, I said it wrong. That's so funny.
Here's some hate from Dave from Chicago. This man went into this movie looking for things to hate. My favorite part was his complaint that the points of the camera work looked like it was 1995 camera work. The movie was released in 1995. What do you want, these guys? Sup, Darren here. Horse sounds on your show? We talked about the horse sounds being too annoying, or at least Case did. I mean, let's be honest. If you did that, people will be talking about it for a long time, saying, you guys remember that show that always had horse sounds in the background?
God, we're going to have to do that, aren't we?
He's not wrong.
Oh, boy.
A couple more off the text line here. Never watched Braveheart. Glad I don't need to now. Thank you, Case.
You're welcome.
You're missing out if you do that, sir. I don't think Braveheart has anything to do with it. Its Case is obvious you hate the Scottish.
May or may not be true. Will not comment. I plead the fifth.
Whoa.
We'll find out on St. Patty's Day. Everybody head down there to Lizzie McNeil's
That's
next
Irish.
Friday. I know it's Irish, but the Scottish can show up too.
I'm going to reveal if I hate the Scottish or not on St. Patrick's Day.
All I'm telling you is if a bunch of Scottish guys show up in kilts at Lizzie McNeil's next Friday, I'll be happy to kick Case's ass.
As long as they're not driving horses.
Thank you.
They're gonna
Yes.
maybe
Yeah,
pale.
people really then got mad. And I don't know, this one was an anonymous text, first time texter ever. Case must be a Biden voter. What a loser.
This is an apolitical show. No comments.
That's right. Finally, this might be the funniest text of all during Case's Braveheart review. The whole time, I literally thought you guys were talking about the animated movie Brave.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a Pixar movie.
I think it goes without saying I've never seen Braveheart either, they say.
There's a big difference between those two movies.
Yeah, so again, Case's review will be up on social and on our podcast, of course. But Joe's checking in from New Lenox. Joe, ahoy, what's going on?
Hey, ahoy, guys. I'm just going to tell you I agree with Case there. That movie stunk horribly.
What?
The whole thing.
What's wrong with all you guys?
Now, he definitely needs to watch The Shawshank Redemption. Great movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great movie.
well, we'll do that next.
And the book from Stephen King, while it's based off of a short story, is even better.
I'm not reading a book, Joe. Everybody relax. Everybody sit tight here. The problem with Shawshank is that I've seen the Family Guy episode based on Shawshank, and I feel like that is better than the movie.
No. I guarantee you will enjoy the movie, my friend.
Yeah, he will.
Also, if you're going to watch people kill each other, just watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You get 3 movies that are about 3 hours each, and they're slaying orcs. And that's a lot more interesting than...
Yeah, but the problem is he had so much of a problem with time. That's 9 hours right there for that.
I don't want 3-hour movies. I want 90-minute movies, ideally.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind when we make the next one.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you checking in. And you didn't even mention the pre-nocta scene. See, these are things that you had to have to make the movie long.
I did mention the prima nocta scene because I said what they should have done. They should have taken a page from the Star Wars playbook. They should have done a crawl credits at the open, erased the first 35 minutes of the movie because Mel Gibson wasn't even there. So thanks for nothing, guys.
Well, listen.
And then they should have started with the prima nocta scene.
He was there as a child.
I know, but I don't know the child's name. The child wasn't the star of the movie.
I wonder if the child, what he's done, the kid that played Mel Gibson as a child, what he's doing
we
today.
can find that out. We can find that out.
That's something we got to get into. First off, here is the scene from The Office when Michael institutes prima nocta in the office.
Hello, everyone. As you know, we are 6 days away from Phyllis's wedding. So get your suits to the dry cleaners and get your hair did. And Karen, you might want to invest in a dress or a skirt of some kind if you don't already have one. This may be Phyllis's only wedding ever. It's my job to ensure that none of you look like ragamuffins. So, I am instituting prima nocta.
Prima nocta, I believe from the movie Braveheart, and confirmed on Wikipedia, is when the king got to deflower every new bride on her wedding night.
I'm sorry. I had a very different understanding as to what prima nocta meant.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.